Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
All right. Let me check it. Oh, yeah. You got sound. Check one,
Yes.
check two. This
Hear
is
me?
it.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
We're going to do it. We're recording. Check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell. Oh man, I got an exciting episode, exciting guest, artist extraordinaire, has done great album covers, plays in bands, has done tour posters for a bunch of comedians and albums for comedians as well. Great artist in New York. Please give it up for Dima Drjuchin.
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 Yes.
Drjuchin. I know it's Russian, so they're Drjuchin.
Yeah.
So I kind of throw a southern thing to it and throws it all off.
That's okay.
But I've called you Dima.
Yeah.
But you have a beautiful last name, Dima. How's it going, my man?
It's good. You know.
I know. We're dodging Delta. I have a Minor Threat album cover behind me that's Simpsonized.
Yes.
Because my room is just all gray, and your art is so wild and awesome. If you haven't seen Dima Drjuchin,
You say Dima.
Dima D, my man Dima D, he has done great album covers for Father John Misty. If you want to check it out, that's kind of what in the art world, in the album cover world, I guess that's your biggest hit, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but also you've done all kinds of different artwork. You've been doing animation for music videos right now, Dima.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting into all kinds of stuff. And you actually are in an installation by Wayne Coyne, the lead singer of the Flaming Lips. I just saw that on your Instagram. Tell me, how's it been going the last 5 years? I haven't seen you in a minute.
Well, you know, ups and downs as we've all experienced. You know, last 5 years are pretty hard to encompass, especially like since the last year and a half felt like 5 years. You know,
yeah, Dima and I used to play in the basement. We used to play a show in the basement. Dima plays awesome bass. He's an amazing artist, amazing person, amazing vibe. And he's always just been there in the background of my New York experience. But we used to do a show with Greg Barris. Greg's show was called The Heart of Darkness, but he would have a band and Dima played bass for him and did the art covers. And it was a great show. Reggie Watts would stop by. We had it was just it was a good mix of people.
Yeah, the basement shows are really fun because they're pretty like loose and they like I feel like the show became more structured later on, but I really like because it was just kind of just like a weird jam, and especially I feel like comedians that were really good at like storytelling, right, like could really, you know, have us play in the background. Those were always my favorite parts. We didn't always do that, but I feel like when like we did it and it really worked. It was really, really magical.
Yeah, you're right. Music, you know, doesn't always lend itself to comedy.
Yeah.
But with storytelling, you're right. Like storytelling's not a laugh per minute. It's not on that aha gauge. So there is a lot of room to breathe and a lot of gray matter to play in. And I think a good band that's kind of in tune can work with that.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, homie.
Yeah, and it's just kind of you kind of engage with it differently, and I feel like music kind of softens the audience a little bit, so you can have more room to breathe and kind of find like the humor within like the vibe of the moment, more than like relying on like the punchline you're shooting for.
Yeah,
because I feel like there were a lot of these like magical moments that happened that only could happen because that's what we were doing.
Yeah, because the band's there, you can get an extra laugh, or because it's just another element to set the tone in. And comedy is kind of an awkward experience. And music can be awkward, but I don't know. Music is just what it is. It's just music, you know. Whereas comedy, you have to. It's the magic trick, you know. So it takes a lot of little steps. Whereas music's just a tone, a vibe. It works great with filmmaking. I love soundtracks. I love even visual stock footage with music behind it.
Well, I mean, like music also, there's more of a safety net with music because it's a lot harder to boo music even if it's bad. But like you kind of know when a joke's not working because the audience is not laughing. You know that you do like rely on more of a honest response from an audience than like I feel like people are more polite towards music. Just
yeah, I guess. I mean, comedy is pretty savage, but at the same time, yeah, it relies on laughter. But who's to say what is what in these days? You know, it's just like.
Well, I mean, that was the fun part is that we kind of walked these, you know, gray areas in that show where it was like a mix of. But yeah, it's like it's music and comedy, but it's not like musical comedy, or you know, it's not like
good way to say
like a weird you know, druggy vibe to it.
You know, it definitely had the acid test vibes of, you know,
I mean, especially because it was like in the basement of a hookah bar
that everybody smoked cigarettes in. It was a place called Karma.
It was the last like place you could
like
do that.
Cigarettes.
It was like 10 years after they already like made cigarettes illegal to smoke in bars. That was like the last places you could actually do that, and were hookah bars. And that was like I don't know. That's just where Greg got a space, and like agreed on a space for like a good while. We were there like for I feel like 3 years, right?
Yeah, it felt like that show was there for a while, and you could rely on. Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows to do. And I know it got built out, but there was like a sweet moment in it.
Yeah.
That it did feel, you always pictured, hey, I want to do this punk rock type of, you know, art and comedy. But yeah, it was in the Lower East Side. All of us were broke, you know, artists trying to figure ourselves out. And we had Reggie Watts coming through, and we just had a lot of different influences, and there was a lot of creativity. And yeah, for a good like year or so, like it just really just hit that note.
I feel like we would like do this show, then like, we go to Greg's house and party.
He had a great apartment
because it was like it was like 3 blocks away, but it was like tiny, but like packed, and I'm just like, you know, and it's just, you know, all these awesome comedians are there. I don't know, it was a lot of fun. That really magical time.
A lot of fun. That was a great crew, and to do it in the Lower East Side, and yeah, it was just it was a vibe, man. And that's kind of, you got introduced to a lot of comedians, and that's when you started doing flyers. You did a flyer for me, or one of my early tours that I loved. It was probably one of more of your simpler ones too. Like
I remember,
look back, it was just a regular line, you know, but I loved it. It was almost like a picturesque.
Yeah, I like the, you know, as busy as my stuff is, I actually really like minimalism. And like that's something I always want to like experiment with more, but it's just, you know, in my own brain, it's just it's kind of like, you know, you kind of have to practice a lot of restraint and a lot of intent with minimalism, because it has to, like, everything has to kind of matter what you're looking at. You know, when you're doing, like, when I do these like really complicated busy paintings, you know, I could just throw whatever in there, and it is kind of about more building out a crazier image. But like with minimalism, it's just, it kind of has to like really pop. It's kind of like a logo, you know, it has to make sense instantly, or kind of like you kind of get the point as quick as possible.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it just clicks and it's awesome. But I know what you mean. Like, I think graffiti went through that phase. Where it used to be, I love a good bubble letter, you know. I love
graffiti.
I love graffiti. I
love like graffiti, like fucking my neighborhood right now is just like, it's, you know, it's covered just like I know it's just like neighborhood kids, you know, it's not great, but I like watching them like progress, like as like it's like get more confidence, and like their bubbling started getting better. So it's like, you know,
I think it's more about humor now, like
yeah.
Neckface and those guys in terms of that. But I was going to talk about how graffiti went through simplest, but then it almost goes into a hieroglyphic age.
Yeah.
In the 90s and 2000, where it's like so much is like they try to camouflage the letter. And that's where I kind of saw your art progress into almost these, like, if you look at these things, I don't know, you do have, I would say you have minimalism in terms of I think minimalism is paying attention to the detail, you know, getting down to the very core element of it. And I think all your pictures do that, you know, whether it's a triangle, whether it's a heart, whether it's a star, you know, all these themes, but you know, they are, you know, just straight up lines and, you know, presented like that. So I it's almost, you have almost a godlike view. You got it. You draw the picture, go, wow, you go all the way out.
Right.
Where the, you know, heart and mind explode, man. And I just think it's, yeah, where are you? It seems like you're in a good place in terms of art these days. You know, you kind of, you're hanging out with rock stars and you're playing music. And hanging out, that installation he did is that big mouth. That thing was so crazy, dude. Talk about that for people don't know.
I used to be pre-pandemic in the pre-pandemic world. I used to work at Rough Trade, like in the last year and a half, and he did this installation at the store during a what's it called? Record store day.
Yep.
So basically built they built an
installation.
The whole thing, yeah, the whole thing out literally right next to the counter, and I basically worked next to it for 2 months, and just fun. But I met him there. But he followed me on Instagram before that, just from my art.
Yeah.
It's you know, there's a time people were paying attention more to that. So you know, I don't know, it's just kind of it happened very organically. Started talking. He's very, very nice. What's it called? And you know, kind of just kind of became friendly at that show, and then he took my number, and then we kind of became text buddies for a while. And then around last January, he sent me a comic strip he drew. And I was doing a lot of animation at the time, and I was like, oh, you know, if you ever want to see this stuff animated, I could do that. He's like, how do we do that? I was like, I could just draw this. I'll just use this and I'll animate it. And so we tried it, and so we did this short, and then kind of started doing other stuff.
That the woman giving birth shot, was that the original piece? That was the piece I saw.
That's just I did he released the book along with this album. It's this whole multimedia thing where it's you know,
makes sense, you two working together. I mean, it's kind of bright and wild and
you know, well, that's the thing. When I started working with him, it kind of you know, it was very easy to plug myself into his work, because I feel there are a lot of similarities in the way, you know, we draw things and approach things. So it's kind of easy for me to kind of take his ball and run with it, and kind of take it to an animated level, and kind of, you know, and that's and it's really fun for me, just kind of oh, this it's not my art, so it's kind of it frees me in these other ways to kind of explore, you know, somebody else's idea, where, you know, usually when I do an animation, I kind of end up doing everything from writing the idea to, you know, kind of fleshing everything out, storyboarding, kind of, you know, in my own way, and then kind of finishing, which is a very long and intense process, which I don't feel I'm always good at some of those things, especially the writing part. So it was very nice to have you know, get a project where, you know, all that stuff was already done. Character design was done, all the background ideas were done. Literally,
you're not good at it. I feel the same way. It literally, dude. I just cranked out a writing packet. I just sat down and did some hardcore creative stuff, and it literally feels like shitting for me, like shitting out cement. Like if it's really hard, but it does feel good when it comes out.
Yeah,
but it's hard
absolutely.
work. It's
Well,
hard.
also just like, and that's like stuff like people don't actually like really like see as like, you know, it's like the unseen work
like,
of
you
like
can do that easy, and it's like,
yeah,
no, there's an emotional toll
yeah,
that comes on with that
and just
stuff.
like, because you know, I was like, is this a good idea? Is this fun to watch? Is this interesting? Like, is this?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really write stuff, so I was like, does this make sense from a writing standpoint? So it was very nice when there's just like, oh, here's the story. This is what everybody looks like. This is what they're saying. And it was so easy for me to just kind of like take that and like, you know, see like how to finish it. You know, there's like
That's a real animator. That's real Disney shit, right?
when I do, especially like, you know, when I did like music videos, a lot of times there's like in the middle of it, because they usually take me a while, like much longer, like than these did. I also did it like in a different style, but there's always like in a middle part where I'm just like, I was like, how much longer is this gonna take me to finish? Where I'm like, there's this like nebulous time of like, but when you know, when like all that stuff is already done ahead of time before I start animating, it's so easy for me to just see the end through. And that was like a really fun, like interesting, what like learning experience for me to just like have that, you know, have somebody do like all the like creative heavy lifting, and I can just like take that and like run with it and like turn it into.
That's what being a director's all about.
Yeah.
You know, is like I always wanted to direct, and it's like, yeah, you're kind of being the coach of the soccer field. You know,
yeah,
you're like, okay, I want this tone. We kind of got the elements, but I think it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And animation's getting so big, and I saw the one video of the Brooklyn sludge rock trio. But you did the animation for this music video for this like heavy.
Oh, Subnari. Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. That was awesome, man. That's
man, yeah.
It's very. I mean, it has to be so tedious because it feels very waking life and very Shadrach.
It's rotoscoping.
Rotoscoping.
It's just one of. Yeah, it's basically like I just drew over video footage of them, but you know, and it's like shot by shot. That's like the most like work intensive. That one took me a while to do.
How long did a 3-minute rotoscope take you?
Well, I mean, it's not like I you know repeat shots a lot in that.
Clips.
I've kind of like I've learned how to like, you know, cheat a little bit and like, you know, repurpose clips and kind of because you know, like a lot of times with like animation, like I don't know how many times people watch them. I like to think people watch them over and over, but you know, but you also have to kind of do it in mind of like this might be just the one time people watch it, so it's okay to kind of repeat stuff, especially in the music video where like things repeat. And you know, like that one took a while.
Yeah.
Also, like I had like Flaming Lips stuff to do like in the middle of it, so I was like juggling a few things at the same time.
Oh man, you gotta be so busy. Dima, thank you for your time, brother. Man.
I'm kind of like I'm working on a poster right now. I actually haven't done a poster in like a while, I guess, because nobody had shows for a while. Now like I'm doing a poster for the first time in a while, but
and they want the fresh poster, they come to Dima. That's awesome. Yeah, what kind of, how do you start? Do you go pen to tablet? That's what the kids are, I see. Or do you like draw on something?
Depends what this particular client wanted more my like digital style, like you know, my comedy poster, so I'm doing it that way.
Yeah,
but I don't know, like lately, like most time, like the posters I've been doing like have just been for like, you know, my band shows and stuff like that, so I'll do them because a lot of times those don't even get printed, so I'll just do them on like an iPad.
Yeah, you can do them on phones and stuff. But the thing is,
I love drawing on an iPad. Like it's
Oh yeah, I need to
Like
get into it. I was
it's
gonna
like
say,
its own thing, like that's the thing, I draw it in physical form and like on several different screens, but like each one kind of has its own thing and its own elements that you can kind of learn from and take. Because now, like, yeah, when I was in Utah and like we wanted to add snow to the animation, the kind of last minute, so I like had to go back to the hotel and like I was like, oh, should not, I have to draw snow like on my laptop. But like I brought my iPad and Procreate literally has a snow brush, and I like went barn. I was like, okay, there's the snow, and I like literally imported that into the animation, and like, all right, I was like, snow brush.
oh man, that's amazing. It has gotten so user friendly with
Mm-hmm.
technology, and
Yeah, like I sent it from my iPad to my laptop, and then we sent it to like a projector.
yeah, airdrop, man,
Mm-hmm.
airdrop your little thing up to the thing, and then you go
But it's
zap
but
zap.
but with all these things, like there's always these little unknown unknowns. Like when we're setting up the projection for the show, like me and the tech, there's like a 2-second delay between the audio and the video, and like it took us like we literally had to trick the technology. Like I had to export a version of the audio, like the video with the audio, like just shifted 2 seconds, like the amount it would delay, so it's like it lines up perfectly in the video because the video is being streamed there, so the
Yeah,
audio is like slightly off. It's just shit like that. We're in fucking 2021, and there's still like little things like that where it's like, yeah, obviously this should work, but like the physicality of it, they're actually like creates these little unknown unknowns. But we figured it out. It was kind of like a fun little puzzle.
yeah, it's with technology, it all goes to one source. Like I'm having trouble with GarageBand, and the thing I googled, they were like, just take it off and then put it back on.
Yeah.
And that did fix it.
Yeah.
You take the whole program off,
Yeah.
and then but there's it's but I will say, as an artist, and I know, and I think you're with animation, I think animation and editing is the new art form, even with kids. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's looking for the new app, new thing that's how you can edit or animate. Those seem to be the new, like,
Well, that's the thing. Like
are almost.
with animation, this stuff is still just like hand drawn, handmade. Like it's done on on technology, but all those rotoscope shots, it's me drawing it. It's me sitting there drawing every frame, coloring every frame, like thinking about every little detail, like within those little frames. And like so I remember like I rotoscoped like kind of this commercial for Rough Trade when I was working there, and I drew a bunch of my coworkers, and my coworker George showed the animation to his son, and his son was like, "Oh, can you do that? Can you get in that app to do that for me? Can you?" He's like, "No, this is like a person did this actually." Like, you have to explain it. Like,
he was trying to think it was a
yeah.
filter. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, and filters can do a lot of things, and they're it's pretty amazing what they're capable of. But there's still like there is something human about when you draw things your way, like it can only look that certain way. Like if you do things in an app, it'll look like everybody else's app.
I know, man. I as much as I love technology, and I know it's a part of your gig right now,
Mm-hmm.
I get joy and satisfaction by using. I got a V7 pen, and I got yellow tablets. I got billions of notebooks, and I love drawing. Like,
Yeah,
love pen to pad drawing,
yeah.
and I love writing pen to pad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, there's some type of weird mystical power. It just
Yeah.
seems more
I mean,
real.
I have like,
When I
sketchbooks and sketchbooks and sketchbooks of like, I make sure I do love drawing physically and kind of not being able to undo things. It's like sometimes when I do digital stuff for too long, I'll and get to start doing stuff in my sketchbook. I'll just like my hand will start going undo, control Z. I was like, all right, I can. That's a eraser. But yeah, I mean, there is like, especially like, and it's like it's your book of spells. Yeah,
man.
There is I was like, when I write lyrics, actually, I'll just use Notepad on my phone because I like because I can edit them like in real time rather than like cross it out. But recently, like I started trying to write stuff more on a just like piece of paper.
Yeah.
I do find that my handwriting starts getting very bad very quickly because I get very impatient about like I just want to finish writing. Like I don't enjoy
get the idea out.
Yeah, I'm just like it's such a utilitarian motion for me. Not like drawing. I can take time and like really spend time with like lines and stuff. But with like writing, I just want to fucking just like get it done. So I start like my lyrics or poems, whatever, start really like clean and like fresh at top, and by the end they're just like psychotic.
It's all how long you can hang on.
Yeah.
Before you start, get it out. Yeah, man. I love doing art. Are you getting outside? So you've been traveling. How does nature affect your art?
Well, this was like our first trip we took since like over 2 years actually, since before the pandemic. Since like Christmas before the pandemic. We live in East Williamsburg, and kind of like a no man's land wasteland of it's just warehouses and and weird buildings like ours that people there's no real neighborhood here, but it's I like because it's quiet. Everyone here is pretty nice too.
Very creative. You got a big amount of space to do all your art.
I mean, we live in 2 rooms. It's just like this is it, and we have a bedroom. But we make it work.
It's perfect.
That trip was fun, really great, just because we're just like we took COVID very seriously. We did, we like
same.
We masked up very aggressively. We stayed away from people. I didn't go to a bar till like my birthday, like last month. We took it very seriously, and I genuinely care about the people around me, and anything I could have done to make things easier, we did. My friends that did see me didn't see my face for like over a year. So we got vaccinated as soon as we were able to. So, and when this like Wayne, like he got basically this space to do that installation, and I've already done some animation at the time, and so he was like, do you want like basically pitched, because they had like these projection rooms, and he's like, do you want to try to like do an animation of like this whole story? I was like, hell yeah, of course. And then he's like, and if you want to come out and like help me like it's like it's good I came out, because like that became kind of my project to make sure it looked good, and because he was focusing more on the main installation. And like they were really nice to have my wife come with us. So, and but we helped also.
She's an artist as well.
And we helped also just like build the thing too. Like we like did a lot of the
it's called the King's, what is it? The
King's Mouth.
The King's Mouth. It is a huge mouth.
Yeah, it's a giant silver head. This is, I feel like, the biggest he's done. He's done it like 10 times already, but I feel like because they really like got to expand it throughout the whole room, which is really cool. Because yeah, when it was at Rough Trade, it was just kind of more, you know, segregated on its own, and it couldn't really go that far out.
Oklahoma's got some space.
Yeah. Well, we were in Utah.
Oh, Utah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was cool. Yeah, going there, like I realized like I don't think I've ever really seen mountains because we're on the train. I'm just like it was beautiful. You know, you're kind of like walled in by Earth because
the Amtrak out there.
Yeah, they had to. It was pretty easy to get into because we flew into Salt Lake and then took a train into Ogden.
Ogden. Wow.
Yeah. But it was just fun because like and it was a very positive trip. He's great. He's a very lovely person, very welcoming, very nice to us. The whole team there was really nice. Just like it was a great positive experience. And it felt like a nice thing after like spending almost like 2 years in 2 rooms together. Like we got to like have this really nice experience. Just like
Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips, and
we were like putting making the rainbows on the floor, but like it's all duct tape, like just ripped duct tape. Like we ripped up our hands with it, but like I was just like we got flowing here to make rainbows. I was like, this is amazing. How the fuck did we do it?
That is amazing.
Yeah,
that is awesome, man. And oh man, that sounds like a dope trip, man. I hope is he gonna do any more installations? Maybe.
This is like
gonna go around and maybe get a.
Well, I mean, he's been doing this one for a while. I think it's just kind of when it comes up when people like pitch it. I think somebody
the space and the
space. I think might have pitched it for. I'm not sure how they got to. I never asked like how that was he. But this one is it's made to be like this traveling exhibit. So he's done it 10 times already. So chances are he'll do it on 11th.
Yeah.
And they're great. That was like like the opening is really fun because it's COVID time, so it's like very spaced out. You buy a ticket and they give you like a space when when you're supposed to come there like at a time.
Yeah.
He like did spin art with fans, which is really nice because like think about like if you're like a little kid and you get to make a piece of art with like your favorite rock star. It's amazing. I mean, I'm 41. I got to do it, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And we did something in my sketchbook. It was really fun.
Oh wow. No, you guys, that's a great gig, and to link up. He's such a heavy cat, man. That group has been around forever, and his vibe. It's weird. It's like he likes technology. Like he went hard in the paint with technology and art in the last like 10 years.
Well, and I think he likes multimedia.
Yeah, multimedia. He likes linking up. It's a good way to link art together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's not just like a visual guy. It's everything. So like he does a good mix of like marrying art with music and there's I feel like media is like especially like animation is kind of like a weird in between music and art because it is like an art that relies on time rather because most like still art is just very like you kind of can spend as much or a little time as you want and like kind of stay in places, but like like animation and music leads you somewhere. It's never like the same thing at one time.
It's an emotional ride.
Yeah. And when I started doing animation, I feel like because I'm a musician and really like kind of helped me with timing and beats and things like that, especially when like I do funny things or like I have like a sense of like especially also just absorbing so much comedy from like doing all these shows. I feel like I have these instincts for beats and little looks that give things personality.
Totally. With a good editor, man, can get like 10 more laughs out of a video.
Oh yeah.
Or in the same with I'm trying to get something mixed and mastered, and with music that's like the whole glaze like if you have somebody dope that mix and masters your shit, like that's like half the gig, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and just like, yeah, but you also just, it's good to know how to work with sound as well as image, because you're going to be working with all those anyway. You know, and with animation, like literally all those things matter.
Yeah, all of it matters. Like, yeah, some animation I find disgusting, some animation I like, you know, and it's for different tonal reasons. And I never find it disgusting, but sometimes like the super cheap computer generated shit in the early 90s or whatever, I just was not into.
But that's, you know, there's a charm to it too, because, you know, without that, we wouldn't have, like, you know, fucking Marvel movies.
I know.
Those things crawl so Marvel movies can fly into outer space.
No. Everything has its trajectory once
Yeah.
you put it out there, and to see your art grow into all of this, and now you're doing rock star albums and touring with rock stars, and we were just
I'm not doing
in a hookah lounge doing comedy. But your art took you there, you know? That's so amazing. And that's such a
pretty magical.
Yeah, something out of thing is what this podcast is all about, you know?
I think about that a lot when it's just like, you know, I'm just some Russian kid that my parents just like took me here, you know, because they had an opportunity to come here from Russia.
Yeah.
You know, and now just like because I draw well enough and people like my drawings well enough, I can do these things. And I should really try not to, you know, there's like people like
you are, you know, you can grow your hair long and wear Christmas lights in your house all year long, you know, you can do the Cannabis Coffee Hour, you can fly to
I'm also very broke most of the time.
What's that?
I'm also mostly broke all the time. So,
yeah,
you know, there's ups and downs.
Yeah, it's hard. But
I do a lot of fun stuff, but you know, there's also like I struggle to pay bills too.
Yeah, it's a part of the gig, man. You just have to keep on going. If you're gonna take this life, you just have to keep on going.
Yeah, and like when a thing like Wayne Coyne asks you to come do the show, I'm like I was like we have to get our override fucking thing of fear flying during COVID. We're vaccinated. We should just. Like we have to do these things.
If no, that's the part of the gig. When they come up, you know, the karma always comes back around. Dude, I've been through it, you know. I've been doing comedy 22 years, dude. And just the last few years, I had to pick up side gigs. I mean, like waiting tables, like kitchens, all that shit. Like, and
I worked at a record store.
Good, yeah, it's a good experience, and
I love that job. That was like
you love that job, and it doesn't.
I loved everybody I worked with.
It has to be forever.
Yeah,
because I had like $9 in my pocket, and then all of a sudden I was touring with Tracy Morgan for a year and a half, like on a private jet.
That's
like,
the thing. Like you can't get bummed out on things. You know, there's so many times where I'm just like, oh, this is over. It's done. I'm just like, I should like call it. But you know, it's just
if you're alive, Dima, you just gotta every day is a possibility.
Yeah, everything ebbs and flows.
What's that?
You know, it just ebbs and flows. Everything, you know. Also, just like, what kind of asshole would I be if it just everything was going great all the time and like, you know, just
you become a super douche.
I'm just fucking sinking slam dunks every day. That's a term, right?
Yeah.
You know, struggle's good.
It's good. It's good to feel it, you know, because I have been on the winning side and I didn't feel complete, you know, and to have the hunger kind of drives the engine of engineer. You just have to figure it out. So then,
I mean, I'm basically animating just out of like desperation of like, I like, you know, painting kind of took a, you know, little bit of a nosedive. So I was just like, well, I got to figure out other ways to make money, to kind of, also just it's something I was really always interested in.
Yeah, you always kind of doodled, like even, I mean, people don't know. I known Dima when you first, you were in art school. I guess you were always doing art, but I mean, we go back to when you were painting on the side of the pizza parlor, you know. He did this beautiful mural in the Lower East Side. That was a really cool piece, man. That one really hit. I remember that. So I just remember you starting from there to like now, and you're married and you got a beautiful wife and she's creative, and to make a living being creative is just hard. It's a part of the gig, but to figure it out is dope. And that's
like, cool shit happens. Like if you you're open to it and you're genuine. I feel like, I never tried to be anybody but myself. I kind of, even when things got hard, I still believed in my artwork. I still like, to me, it's like, well, if all else fails, I still like doing this. I still like drawing. Just if it's just for me, that's totally fine too. So, I feel like that's a good just base to have of like, a lot of things can come, a lot of like successes can come, and accolades, and famous
still gonna stub
nice
your toe. You're still gonna bang your elbow.
Yeah.
You're still gonna, something weird's gonna go down.
But ultimately, you have to enjoy it yourself, because if you don't enjoy doing it yourself, why should anybody enjoy it, looking at it, or listening to it? Or it's like, your joy for what you do comes through your work, whether you know it or not. And people can sniff out what's genuine and what's not.
It connects. My new quote that I wrote down, I shared it. To create is to relate.
Exactly.
You're just trying to relate, and it's a funky, everybody's different, that's what's cool about it, is everybody's different and everybody's got different vibes, but by being creative, you kind of relate to the world that doesn't even make sense in the first place.
Yeah. But I feel like, it's what's fun for me is just, like even like last night I posted, this girl made a crochet version of the Father John Misty album. Like, that's so amazing. Like, how magical. She spent like 2 years doing that thing. It's fucking insane.
Dude, that piece of art's gonna be around. You just have to stay alive, brother. That piece of art is
I intend to. I try to.
Take all your vitamin C. Tell me your morning ritual. A lot of this podcast is, we haven't even, you're so fascinating, Dima, and I haven't caught up with you, and we just got, we could talk for 5 hours, but I think we're kind of getting towards the other hours. But let's talk a little coffee and herb. So what's your morning ritual? Do you drink coffee these days?
Yeah, I think I drink more coffee these days. I've never stopped. I started drinking coffee like at 30. I never drank coffee before that, so I feel like I can drink coffee for a while. I don't have to be an adult in my 40s not drinking coffee. I also don't drink like that much. I basically have like, just coffee in the morning. I don't drink it during the day.
No, it's good for you. I go to my mom's in the assisted living. They all still drink coffee, and it keeps your mind active.
Yeah, I
drink too much, it does cause anxiety, and
I generally don't drink more than like, if I buy one of these, this 24, like that's all I'll drink.
That's the Bushwick special right there. That's 40 ounce, man.
Yeah, but I've also just been.
Is that cold brew or iced coffee? Because that's a
cold brew.
Oh, big boy of cold brew. Oh, dang.
I've been animating a lot, so like I've been kind of like pushing myself with that. But as far as I
apologize, dude, I drink a disgusting amount of coffee.
But usually like we just like make it at home. This is more of like I've been kind of just taking a walk, grabbing it and come back.
That's nice.
Morning routine. I tend to wake up very early.
Nice.
I kind of also just been falling, like I lately just been going to sleep like 7 sometimes, and just like, all right, I'm
sleep
done.
Is good. Yeah.
And I'll sometimes wake up like at 3, 4 in the morning, and then I'll just be up from there.
At 3 in the morning, smoke out.
Always. As soon as I wake up, basically. Well, also just like, if I'm just laying in bed and just kind of like, I'll just like lay around for a while, but then I'm like, I'll just go rip a bowl and lay back in bed and like listen to music. which is nice. And sometimes that'll
sleep.
fall me back. Yeah, put me back to sleep.
I use it kind of to put me right back to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's that fork. I don't know. The moon goes around the sun a certain way, and you just pop up.
Yeah.
Usually
I definitely have that.
Yeah. And usually you go take a piss.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you got some herb around, it's all right to, I don't know. I
think it's, if you can handle it, you can,
people have their own vices. Mine is just herb and coffee.
Same. I don't really drink. Like, I don't party. I don't do.
Oh, you used to roll some drums. Are you still in the cigs?
No, I've stopped smoking cigarettes almost 10 years ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Which was like way harder to stop. You know what helped me stop smoking cigarettes? Not stop smoking weed.
Yeah. Did I tell you that?
I think I just like, well, it's, you get to a certain age, you kind of like, how the fuck do you just exist sober?
Well, what was told to me was like, you can't do both. Like, that's a lot of smoke to be doing.
Yeah, I picked one. Yeah,
you got to pick one or the other, or you're just giving your body just a lot of different smoke all day long. And we already live in a polluted bubble a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I switched out. And I actually ran out of herb for the last week. I just got a little bit, but it wasn't that bad.
In my Utah trip, I didn't smoke at all. That was like my Utah trip, like I didn't do smoke at all.
Yeah. Oh, when I toured with Tracy, I was dead sober, dude. When there's money on the line and these are the gigs I love.
Also, when you're traveling, your like mind is in a different place. I feel like I didn't even notice. Like the first like day or so, like I had a little bit of like the jitteries of like fucking reality.
Yeah.
But but when you're on a trip, you're already in like this weird heightened area. You're constantly bombarded with like new experiences, so it's like you get and like so you kind of get just also it's like Utah. I didn't want to be like the dude like, hey man, can you get me weed? And also like, where am I gonna smoke it? Like in my fucking nice hotel room where the windows don't open, like
that's
I was just like, I can be an adult and not smoke for 4 days.
Yeah. And if it comes to you, it comes to you. Because sometimes it comes to you.
Yeah.
And there's a time.
I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
So just like, impressions, matter.
Yeah. I'm sure Wayne's got like 3-foot bong made of glitter back at his house.
He has a gummy company he just started called
Oklahoma's
Love Your Brain.
Heavy with it.
But he does like really like, I feel like
they're laid back, so I can see them getting behind cannabis, to tell you the truth.
Well he has like but I haven't tried them, but he says they're like very like relaxing gummies.
Yeah. They're not super heavy.
But we all flew there, so like no one can like bring anything, so just also just who gives a shit. We're like the fucking experience in itself is enough, like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I did find like I couldn't eat anything. So it's just like I had no appetite.
Just ran on coffee and water.
Kind of. Well, also, it's you're in the mountains, it's like really dry heat, so we were like constantly just like drinking like water and like
to stay alive. Yeah.
Well, like you realize your body like's craving it more and more, but I feel like I would fill up on water a lot, and by the time like the food came, I take 2 bites and I'm just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I feel like I lost a lot of weight, but when I came back, just like I just been eating nonstop.
Good for you. What have you been eating?
Garbage. I don't know.
Slices on the street, or do you fuck up slices, burritos?
I always fuck up slices. I fuck up tacos.
We did a song. Dima and I did a song called "Fuck Up a Slice."
That's right.
My vault somewhere. I got my vault.
I definitely have everything I've ever recorded.
Yeah, we did. Dima did a beat one afternoon.
That's right.
Rap about pizza, and that was one of my very first rap song, or I wouldn't say, I try to say it's hip hop songs. My first one of them, and it was right in the Lower East Side, and so much fun, man. Making music is so much fun, but it's also super tedious and super technical. Have you been playing the guitar? Do you like?
I've been playing in like bands like I've been playing in 2 bands the last like 4 years, 3 years. But basically with the same people like in both bands. Like one's my band, one's my friend's band. But both been really fucking fun. Like the album we released. Yeah, I finally like released a record on vinyl, like of my bands, one of my bands. Both of them came out during the pandemic. I'm like, like we put out these records that we can't play shows for. But like, I'm so excited. Like, can we finally?
You could do live streams. Do you?
Oh, we did a bunch of them. I actually like my bandmate started a website called bandnada.com, which is specifically focused on live streaming bands that you don't have to use like Facebook or Instagram. It's like an independent run.
That's where it's all going.
We like our practice space is also like a DIY space that we did shows in and starting to do again, but he like set it up with cameras, and so it kind of became like our like a studio. So a lot of the bands in our scene started playing shows through that website,
streaming it through that joint. Oh
yeah.
Wow. What's the name of that?
Bandnada.com.
Bandnada.com. Yeah. Because you know what? I want to DJ on a rooftop.
And you can do that.
And live stream it, smoke some weed up there, drink some coffee, have some guests come over. You know what what trips me? I should ask a DJ friend, but doesn't it trip you out? Like I see these streams, but they don't have the rights to the song. Is there some type of loophole? Like if you're a streaming DJ?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't. My output. I try to make it 100% original content. So I don't really rely on other people's music. I have enough, just out of sheer like I have enough of my own music that I can throw on and that algorithms don't give a shit about. So I feel like one of my bands probably could be like taken off. Which is like one of the, like I did this video for like Flaming Lips, and they like posted on Instagram, and I posted on my Instagram, but I used their music on it, but with their permission. But like Instagram took down the video because I used Warner Brothers licensed music.
They got the algorithms, man. That's what.
But I was just like, but no, I was just like, but it's cool. They let me. How do you explain that to like a fucking robot? Like, no, it's fine. I actually worked on this thing. I'm just showing it because they posted it, and like it's this weird, these unknown unknowns of technology.
Yeah, as we venture out into outer space, further into future, it's a whole new world and a brave new world. But if you are an artist, I really think it's really up to you. I'm doing filmmaking and I'm making music and podcasting, just learn, and I'm editing the podcast myself. You just learn it all,
Yeah, I mean, I basically learned to animate because my computer crashed. And I lost like all my programs that I kind of had not the most legal ways. And when my friend, my bandmate, like fixed my computer and like gave me new RAM and whatever the fuck makes it better. I just signed up to like the Adobe Cloud. I was like, all right, fine. I just like I'll pay like $60 a month, which is it always kind of made me nervous because it creates this like dystopian situation where because I run out of money a lot. My bank account, I'm not rich at all. My parents aren't rich. So like I run out of money sometimes where my bank account goes to zero. And, this is like an auto pay thing. So, the nightmare of like not being able, like being shut off from my Adobe Cloud and being able to use these programs that I use to make money to pay for them. There's this like, that's what always made me scared about it.
Yeah.
But so far they're actually really nice during like when the pandemic hit. They like waived everyone's fee for like 3 months. So you didn't have to pay. I was just like, hey, like I kind of rely on this.
You do, and you animate in Adobe.
Well, yeah. So like
they have a pro
'cause-
version that has a big cloud.
yeah, and you can download all these programs for you pay $60 a month and you have access to all their like different programs. So I was like, well, I want to learn After Effects. I want to learn Animate. What's it called? Premiere.
Yeah.
I want to learn it. I could finally get to learn to edit like properly. Cause I had like a iMovie what I always edited it in. So and like since they're Adobe, they all kind of relate to each other in a way that it's like if you know one, you can kind of like figure out how to use others. But I didn't like go to a class or like I found like the like I'm pretty good at teaching myself in a way like where like if I kind of come up with an idea of how I want to do something, and if I can figure out how to word it properly, there's usually a YouTube video describing how to do it, and it's usually some 12-year-old fucking describing it. So you're gonna have to eat a little crow with it too.
Yeah, you just scroll forward. I put together my wife.
I just like watch it like the video up until like the thing I'm stuck on. I'm like, okay, got it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like and just like okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
And then I get stuck and I'm like, wait, hold on. what was that again? What was the thing after? I think the thing after was important too.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with music and film editing, there's just a plethora of videos. But yeah, the internet is so.
Yeah, you don't need to really go to school for these things. Like the internet has everything. And it's just like, and I kind of also just like, figured out like how I want to use these programs like first, and then like found that path. Because like I don't know how to use everything in all these programs. There's like tons of, things that I don't, but I know how to get to where I want to go.
Yeah. What kind of coffee do you like? Russian coffee? Is coffee big in Russia?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what Russian. My parents always drank.
Every country has a coffee. It's like every country has a kind of a herb scene, but every country has a deep history or kind of drinks coffee or made.
My parents drank like Folgers, just like shit coffee.
There's not like an Italy scene. Like Italy, man, they take coffee. Like,
I live in America, Rob. I live in Brooklyn.
I know.
Amongst Americans.
When did you move here? Because I just wanted to get back to your life story a little bit. Because I always found that interesting. And I think that's what influences a little bit of your art and your vibe. When did you move to America? Not that it's a big deal. I love America and Russia. And I love you.
I moved here when I was 1 in 1981. Cool. I packed up my bags, got on the plane. Made this decision myself. Look, I spent a year here. It's fine.
Yeah.
I want to see something else. Give me something else. Yeah. So we went to Russia. Well, my father worked for the UN, so he I think he got like stationed here to like do some stuff, and then like after, because he was here for a year before we moved there. And then he moved us over.
And then you just figured it out from there. Yeah.
Well, like we lived in the Bronx.
Oh wow.
There's like a whole Russian community there.
Ooh.
And I went to like a Russian school, like where I wore the kerchief and the uniform.
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
In the
like, yeah, the whole like it was like a Russian like government compound basically. Like it was like walled off. Like it had like it's still there too.
Yeah, New York just has
Riverdale
communities of everybody. That's
but it was like specifically like folks like me, like a lot of UN workers lived in that area, and it's still like people like my parents are friends with, and like all the people kind of were in the same situation. Where like they're UN workers, they got moved here through Russia. So we were like, I was there till like 13, and I started going to like a public school there, where like so I went from like a Russian school like where I wore like the uniform to like a Bronx public school.
Oh wow.
Where like a lot of Russian kids went there at the same time, so like I knew kids that are already there.
Yeah.
and my brother. So like it was kind of like a, you know, but it was an interesting mix of like, you know, it's the first time like I became friends with like black kids and like, you know, like kids from other
In
like
the Bronx.
ethnicities. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like, and for me, like I didn't have a hard time like
Everywhere. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I didn't have a hard time making friends there, you know. You know, I'd never like felt different than people. But it was like my first experience of like being friends with like not Russian kids.
Yeah. That's got to be wild.
But like, but it's also like the first where I started getting into fights in school, where like me and kids would like fucking punch each other in the face and like, yeah. But it was also like we were starting to get like, you know, it was like 11, 12. It's like when you start getting like aggressive and like, you know, you start puberty starting to sneak up, so you're starting getting more like getting
You're in the city, you're angsty. Yeah. It's,
you know, but like I'd come home with like black eyes and stuff. I mean,
oh yeah. I'll meet
but
you.
it also, but you know, like I'd get into fights with these kids and then
real.
Yeah. But I get into fights with these kids and then like, you know, we'd be friends next week. It's fine.
Yeah.
Scrapping
is a part of public school.
Yeah. It was, you know, but you know, I did like that I defended myself. I didn't like back down. Like I didn't let anybody beat me up. I was like, you know, these fights never end with anybody winning anyway. It's usually gets broken up by a teacher. Like
it's usually
they're not gonna let you tear you apart.
Yeah, either both of them are crying, somebody got smacked in the eye, maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then somebody goes to the principal, somebody cries. Yeah. And then people just go about their day.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, but you know, looking back, I was like, you know, when it came to like fight or flight, I surprisingly fight.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm not like, you know, I'm not an aggressive person. I haven't really fought anybody since then. But it was like, but when it like comes down to it, it's like I'm surprised at myself that I don't run. Well, you know, who knows now.
It's the last thing you want to get into.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get away from any of that energy.
Yeah.
You know, because
I feel like I'm pretty good at de-escalating things.
No.
That's one thing I've learned that at, like, you know, especially working in retail for like a year and a half, you know, before the pandemic, like I feel like I have a very good energy to de-escalate tense situations.
Yeah.
Because I've been like around like autograph signings. There's a lot of energy. There's K-pop groups that did so there's a lot of like K-pop fans, like they had a lot of energy. But I feel like I have this even keel that can like ground people.
Yeah, man, I'm sure. So Rough Trade, I am not super familiar. I know they have a store in Brooklyn and they have one in Manhattan. Like
they moved. They closed the one in Brooklyn. That's the one I worked in.
Okay.
But it's the same store. It's the same people. They just moved to Manhattan. It's just, you know, pandemic kind of destroyed everything.
Shuffled the deck. Yeah, everybody got shuffled.
Yeah.
And they landed in the Lower East Side?
No, they're in 30 Rock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And then so in Rough Trade, is it a record label? Is it
it used to be, it's both, but they're kind of two separate companies. The shop is its own thing. I think they used to be more related, but then that part got sold off to somebody, so they kind of, but you know.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we used to get a lot of calls for the label. They're like, "Oh, I want to send my demo to the label." I'm like, "Go ahead," because this is a store.
Yeah.
You know, but that was
tail end. Yeah.
But that was fun because like I shopped there a lot. So I was just.
I love record stores to work. I mean, that's like working. Like, there's so few of them, and it used to be a joy of mine. Even in
I always wanted to work at one.
Towns, little record stores were the best.
They still exist, you know. They're all still. A lot of them are still there. Anytime I go somewhere, I sniff out record stores and at least try to go to one.
Yeah.
But you know, that's like part of the thing. Like whenever I go travel, that's like one of the things I try to find is like where's their little record stores, and because like especially if they have like a good used section, you know. When I worked at a record store, it kind of became difficult to kind of go to another record store because I was like, well, I can just get this at my store for cheaper because I get discounts. And so it became more of a game of like, what can I find at this store that I can't find at my store? and usually like used shops were really have like a lot of like weird shit I've never seen, or like something rare that I can't find,
Yeah, man.
back home.
Yeah. Because music is so. There used to be that place in Greenpoint called The Thing, where it was just.
Oh yeah, I lived right on that block.
Yeah, man. You know The Thing. That's where I recorded.
I could not go there.
What's that?
That place gives me anxiety
Yeah,
because nothing's it's all just like crammed in there, and so nothing is in any kind of order. You
Nope.
really just have to go down there and dig, and you need to put a mask on and gloves because it's dusty. But you have to sift through a lot of 90s hip hop singles and R&B.
There was some gold in there, man.
Yeah.
There was some fucking gold. I saw some crazy gold. I never bought a lot of that stuff. I'm not a vinyl freak, but I made a vinyl. They made a vinyl. I have a 45. I have like 5 of them left.
Mm-hmm. It's nice
vinyl. Yeah.
I'll trade you one for my record.
Yeah. I'll trade you one. I got it deep in the file. There's like 5 left. I'll definitely trade you one. Because I want somebody that digs it, Some people
Absolutely.
are like,
hey man, I'm literally sitting next to my record player.
Oh, nice. It has my storytelling about my first concert. Oh yeah.
What was your first concert?
The Fresh Festival in Roanoke, Virginia in 1983. The lineup was Grandmaster Flash, Houdini doing the Freaks Come Out night. And then it was Run DMC on their second album.
Nice.
On their second album with the Hats, the King of Rock.
Nice.
And then it was my favorite, the Fat Boys.
Nice. All right.
And yeah, man, I tell the story about it. I went to the concert by myself. My mom dropped me off, but it's literally a legendary concert because it was the first time hip hop got taken into arenas, especially down south. And it was just like packed. Like nobody had seen, this was shit so underground and so funky. And then it was just, I caught it. It was like seeing Led Zeppelin play, dude. They just melted the place. Everybody, and it was all good, positive vibes.
You went by yourself?
Went by myself.
That's crazy.
My mom, the dude.
You don't have like a friend to come with you?
No, he chickened out. His parents went to get him.
Shit.
So I
good on you for saying fuck it. I need to see this.
Oh, dude, because I bought him first. Like he was kind of into breakdancing, but I was full. I got paid to breakdance at other schools.
Nice.
I was full in, and I would get 12 inches. I knew the local DJ. I was just all into the first Run DMC album. I remember even before they came out, I was pop locking, listening to like Egyptian Lover, all this like electronic, Planet Rock, all that. And then I was kind of right on that cusp. This album came out called it wasn't Hard Times. It was What People Do for Money. And then Run DMC came. It was just like Houdini, and it would just hit a pocket for me. Like all that stuff, and other kids were kind of going towards cheese metal. I kept on going. And my buddy that I would breakdance with, everybody was kind of getting into Motley Crue. I was just going full on hip hop. And his dad wouldn't let him go. And my mom drove us, was planning on drive. I called him all day. He wouldn't answer the phone. I remember.
That's such a bad feeling.
The dad took him out and he never talked. I kind of was like, what fucking happened? He's like, my dad we went out. And so I just went by myself. My mom went and dropped me off, but it was the best thing ever, dude. I went right to the front.
I went to concerts by myself before.
Yeah, I had a full.
Not my first one, but like I don't think I could.
Experience, dude. Because
and it became like so much more personal because you're there by yourself.
Dude, so much personal. And it was so hardcore. And but it wasn't like dangerous. It was just like it was on the cusp of seeing like the sun coming around it was just the very beginning, because image-wise, these guys weren't on MTV. You had to know somebody to get these tapes, or they were on the R&B station, and that was at late night. In some towns in Virginia, you wouldn't even get that. So you would get a tape of Richmond playing this late night show, or these tapes come down from New York. So it was the first time visually, instead of maybe you see a little clips of them, but visually you saw it all perform. and sonically, this was like real turntables. Like,
Yeah.
I saw Grandmaster Flash before Serato or any of that shit, like on fucking, you know, Techniques, two Techniques in a realistic mixer right in the middle, you know, cutting vinyl.
That's awesome.
Through stereo arena monitors with lasers, and they had these blue little lasers, like the real green, like Miami Vice lasers, shooting everywhere, dude. Like, you know, that video,
yeah,
they're all wasted, and the fucking Pete Townsend comes down and those lasers come out, dude. That's what they had. And they were writing letters, and it was the Fresh Festival. No, but promoters all talk about it. It was like a moment in time, like it was before, it was when hip hop still had it, like it's innocent. Yeah. It's like right when the shit popped.
The first hip hop group I saw live was Wu-Tang Clan. But it was
those guys are kings.
It was during Lollapalooza '96, and they were the secret guest.
Nice.
It was like either them or Rage Against the Machine. It was gonna be one or the other. So, but it was I got up close. I'm like, I don't think Rage Against the Machine has a DJ. But then it was Wu-Tang Clan. They're so fucking awesome, and they like it's like crowd surfing. They just fucking work. Like they're like a rock band. You know, they were like treated like a rock band. Like people were like moshing to them and just totally with them. And I feel like that was kind of like a turning point where I'm like, I was like, I think I love the Wu-Tang Clan.
Dude, you saw them at their prime in a huge audience, and then
I think ODB,
they got all that love, you know, because the music fans, even if you don't like hip hop, like you gotta, you know, some of those Wu-Tang joints are just so incredible. Sampling kung fu shit. And like, you know, you never hear, you were like, dude, this is insane art.
Have you ever listened to Czarface?
Yes. Yeah.
I fucking love those records. That's it's Inspector Deck. But the one he did with Ghostface, I think, is the best one. It's so fucking good. And I feel like they kind of captured that, you know, like that early '90s production feel, but it doesn't feel like, you know, they're rehashing it. It just feels like kind of very natural, and just sounds like, you know,
evolved. Yeah.
But it's still like sample bass. They're scratching on
when
it.
Those guys
like,
try to do trap music, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like you have to stay in your lane.
But I also just love that kind of production, that like that '90s like compressed beat
very
production.
synth or grimy sample oriented. Yeah. You know, the sample thing is like just a tricky thing now. Nobody wants to pay for that.
No. Why would they? Just fucking destroy you. They really destroy you for doing it.
Yeah,
like they learned their lesson to not let. There's a golden age with that, and just like, man, when that happened, it was such a fucking interesting thing. But I feel like they also just kind of mined all those sounds, and you know, like, so
they also gave a lot of people checks.
Yeah,
you know? Like the Steely Dan, like all these guys.
But like, think about like how if they just
90% of this one huge hip hop song called Uptown, which is Peter Guns. It's like obscure hip hop song, but huge in 90s hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
But they went after them, and they own 90%, like Steely Dan, because it was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
It was like doom, 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 doom,
yeah.
Doom, doom. And they took the whole thing, and it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
But they got 90% of it. Yeah.
You know, it's
probably some lawyer. I mean, it's just a battle. Yeah, you're going to war.
But it was also just, you know, it's such like an interesting moment in time where it became kind of this like postmodern music that, you know, really just takes something from the past and makes it new. But, you know, like there was, I feel like, a threshold of how much you can like redo that until like you're now like rehashing the rehashed thing, you know, like the kind of like remixing the remix. So like, I feel like there had to be a point where hip hop kind of started making its own sounds. And I think like, you know, modern hip hop might not be so much my thing, and like trap stuff might, but I feel like at least like it is creating a new thing, and just and it is pushing things in these new weird directions.
The bottle in its own way.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's like, it's for kids. You know, it's like it's rebel music for kids. It's not for 40-year-old me.
Yeah, it's sugar. It feels good, but it feels bad later, you know. But the beats are stacked really good, and some of these guys are so soulful and like creative and the beats are really creative. Some of it's trash, but that's art.
That's all music. There's always been trash.
Yeah,
we just forget trash.
You just try to get to that 1%. You just want to hit the bat. You want to try to hit the bat, but there's nothing guaranteed, baby. It's just like, it's very organic. You know, it's like, I always say, it's like being a surfer. You're like, the wave is supposed to be right there, but the wave isn't always right there. No. You know, the wave is going to come when it comes.
Absolutely.
Have you been meditating? I've been getting really into meditation.
I've never meditated. I feel like my artwork is my meditation, or like music is my meditation. I feel like I'm not the type. I've tried before where like I can't really shut off my mind that way, and nor do I really want to. I don't feel it's a hindrance. I feel like I kind of meditate like when I just lay in bed awake at night. I don't like consciously try to, but I just try to kind of like relax myself. I feel like, you know, art in itself is very meditative and kind of, you know, you focus onto like a point.
Basket weaving.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's just like I don't have like the discipline to like
that's cool, man. No, I just started getting into. I'm just wondering, just for the Cannabis Coffee Hour, you know, sometimes I open consciousness through herb, but I have learned with, like, I do think consciousness is there and you're just slowing down to tap in.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing you do with your art.
Yeah.
Or acid.
Especially like, I feel like music in particular, like especially singing and stuff, like you kind of, you know, a lot of music is kind of you kind of focus into like the right now. Like, you know, we only really have like now as a point. You know, rest of time is kind of, you know, ambiguous and kind of an idea. So, you know, I think in music, especially when you like really vibing off of your the people you're playing with, really centers you into right now and into like the moment. And I feel like that's the best times happen when you're just kind of all thinking in the same moment, and kind of you forget about the past, you forget about the future, and you exist then. And to me, like that's what meditation is. Like, it's just kind of like centering yourself to, you know, the only moment that actually exists.
And that's helped me with like my anger and my frustration and my jealousy. It doesn't wipe it away, but it just kind of makes you look inward more towards and have a little bit more understanding of it on a bigger scale. So you're kind of tapped, but everybody has like stretching or sports.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's different. It's like, it's same thing with, I think with drugs, like coffee and weed might not be for a lot of people.
No, I mean, I used to get like panic attacks on.
Yeah.
But I feel like through those panic attacks, I kind of learned how to like calm myself from having panic attacks.
Because,
like, because like it would like drag me through hell, and I have to like figure out how to drag myself out of it.
Yeah.
But I feel now I don't get it anymore in that sense, because like I kind of trained myself out of it. And I feel like the thing that really was kind of causing them was that thing of like where I was kind of being hyper aware of like the instant moment that we exist in, and realizing that like everything else is kind of a construct, and that would like, and then like, you know, that would blink me out of existence. But now like I learned that it's like, no, that's great. Like, you know, and you know, if I'm like starting to like panic, just breathe, play guitar, like
super heightened awareness of yourself.
Yeah. And also just like, no one's ever died from weed, and you're not going to be the first one. So stop being a baby.
Just take a nap. And Neil Young just said, and it does work, I think a lot of it's smells. You know, weed is such a strong smell, and it's you know, the same thing with lavender can give you tones, but they say to bring you down, if anybody spazzes out, is cracked pepper. Fresh cracked pepper.
I've heard that.
Peppercorns, if you just put a peppercorn in your mouth, because I think it's just the pheromones from that is just an intense, it'll just, because you do have cannabinoids in your brain. I can't talk, but you have stuff in your brain that it does naturally link to. So I think it shakes it out of it a little bit.
I feel what mostly just happens is just regulating your breathing, like and just like take deep breaths, and like I remember Yazan like he like helped me out of a few of those, but it just like mostly just like just breathe, just like don't worry,
All about
you're not
focusing
gonna die.
on breath.
Yeah, and just focus on your breath. But I feel like that's kind of where music and art comes in, because when you
but
start
you can do
focusing
it
on other
daily.
things,
It's like tripping daily, because you're
Yeah.
focusing on your breath, and a lot of it's just losing your ego. So by
Yeah.
focusing on your breath, you're kind of being like, I'm this human, I'm this organic, I'm just like this plant over here, I'm just like this. So a lot of my drama comes in my ego. So it's more I can walk around and see, you're supposed to like see people without their ego, and they're like, oh, this guy's just a rotting piece of fruit,
Yeah, and ultimately, you try to destroy your ego.
Yeah, and that makes us
that's a healthy thing to do.
It makes us more compassionate towards each other. It makes us more kinder. It makes us, it softens everybody's edge.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what was fun about that trip I just took, was that like I was part of this awesome art show, but I was like, it's not about me. It's not like, once the opening started, I like, me and my wife just sat back and drank. Like, no one talked to us about the show. Like, they want to talk to him because it's like, I helped somebody like achieve like a bigger version of their vision, which is rewarding in itself.
Oh, you're the best, Dima. You've helped me attribute to my bigger vision coming on the show, Dima. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
That trip sounds amazing that you did with Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips. Tell the people, give them your website where they can find your art.
DimaDrjuchin.com, I guess.
Yeah. Dima Drjuchin.
I don't know. Find my Instagram. I'd like to post. I try to post things of value.
You got great Instagram. Yeah, check out his Instagram. Check out his art.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.